going to find his creatures, 2 Snapcaster Mages, a whole bunch of spells, and then his Planeswalkers, 2 Jace Architect of Thought, 1 Tameo the Moonsage, 2 Sorin Lord of Innistrad, and he has 3 Nephalia Drown Yards, so you have to take people to the Frown Yard. And he's going to be against, you can have an attempt.
And, you know, playing Esper Control, I don't think it's a surprise that he's 7-0-2.
Sure. Yeah, he'll draw us.
And he's playing against Keyring Saleh. Keyafar, who is playing a banned hexproof deck, which I have to imagine he's probably licking his chops getting to play against Esper Walkers.
I think he's probably pretty happy about this, right?
Yeah. Especially on the play, not many answers probably to a Geist of St. Traft or Invisible Stalker.
Now there are four Supreme Verdicts. There are also 3 Terminus, but there are a lot of cards that can be shut off here as well. 2 Ultimate Price not going to be great. 4 Azorius Charm going to be cycled quite a bit. 2 Detention Spheres again not going to be too great. 4 Lingering Souls to be able to actually get in the way.
Yeah.
And then 2 copies of Dissipate as far as counter magic is concerned, and of course, a very important card in most matchups. 3 Sphinx's Revelation, not terribly good in this particular matchup.
I mean, this is going to be pretty straightforward. Is Kia going to be able to get the aggressive Invisible Stalker Geist of St. Traft draw, and is Andrew going to be able to draw the Supreme Verdict in time?
And we did change Keyafar's name on the screen to Kia, as he mentioned to our spotter that he just prefers that. He likes making our life easy, so we appreciate that. I don't want to embarrass myself too much.
Oh, and Funkhouser's on the play, so that kind of helps him.
The Funk Man.
Funk Man.
Yeah. So Esper Control on the play. Looks like both players have kept their openers. We are going to see a gorgeous swamp to start this game, as both players are going to be playing for top 8 here. Funkhouser is in 10th, and Kia is in 9th, so it looks like a slot on the line.
And Kia mulligan this game, so
okay.
He's going to be under a little bit of pressure.
So we do see an Avacyn's Pilgrim, and
there's a Rune Chanter's play?
There's just one.
What creatures does he have to put him on?
2 Snapcasters. He's got the 4 Lingering Souls. He can also make some guys there with Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. So you don't really see that card very often in this deck.
Huh. Okay, are we going to see a Geist here? Or looks like he has an Invisible Stalker.
Yeah, I think I saw a Stalker. I also think I saw an Abundant Growth as well. And there's your Invisible Stalker. And there's your Rancor.
So not bad, especially with the Soulblade Paladin. Funkhouser doesn't currently have a white source, so if he doesn't play Wind this turn, he's kind of out of Supreme Verdict range for at least 1 turn.
It looks like we see the Hallowed Fountain off the top there for Andrew.
Okay. So that means Kia might have to play a little more conservatively.
And he's actually going to take 2 right away as well, so going to go down to 18. And again, he does have access to 4 Supreme Verdicts and 3 Terminus, so he does have some mass removal, but he is just passing with that mana open.
Is the Forbidden Alchemy here?
Now, there are 2 copies of that. There are also 2 copies of that, and the 4 copies of Azorius Charm to cycle with.
Yep.
So, going to see some end of turn action here, most likely. And Curiosity.
Wow, Curiosity.
Going to resolve. A little surprised. Curiosity, a card we'll bring up on the screen for you guys. Doesn't see a ton of play, but drawing a card for 1 blue and an Invisible Stalker, good combination.
Soulblade Paladin. Let's see if it resolves.
About 2 cards. That's 2 cards, Tom.
2 cards there. So Funkhouser does have an Azorius Charm, as well as a Terminus.
We'll see the first trigger. We'll see the second blow here, draw the second card. And this is pretty nice too, right? Because if there is a Supreme Verdict here on the following turn, he's actually done a nice job of getting his cards back for when he's invested. And he'll get that Rancor back as well if the Supreme Verdict does happen.
Exactly.
Be able to rebuild. This is what you talked about a little bit earlier in the day, just how they can kind of pace the game through Wrath effects.
Yeah. So, okay, no access to double white. That's a good sign for Kia. Looks like we might see a Sorin here.
There is the Sorin.
Not exactly what Funkhouser wants here, although it will allow him to block a Soulblade Paladin for a turn. Which is good.
You guys do see Sorin on the screen. Makes a 1/1 black vampire with lifelink, but he is facing down a ton of first strikers right now.
Increasing savagery, perhaps?
Anything, really. You do see an Abundant Growth there. It looks like he's got a lot of creatures, but no more pants.
Yeah, I mean, the Paladin is oh, well, he's got a Spectral Flight.
I take it back. And Spectral Flight is going to suit up here. And that's 8 from the Paladin and a bunch from the Invisible Stalker. And
6, 10, 14. Yep, that's game.
We call that lethal, where I come from.
Yeah, and that's how it plays out sometimes. Esper has 4 Supreme Verdicts, but their mana is tight sometimes. They don't always draw the double white, and sometimes they don't even draw the verdict itself. So it's pretty much exactly what Kia was hoping for. And the great thing now for Kia is that even after a mulligan, he was able to pull out that game, so he's guaranteed to be on the play in Game 3 if it goes that far. So looking pretty good for Kia so far.
Of course, Andrew does have a healthy amount of white sources in deck. He does have 4 Isolated Chapel, 4 Hallowed Fountain, 4 Glacial Fortress. But, you also find in this 3-color deck, you find some colorless lands. You find a Ghost Quarter, you find 3 Nefali Drown Yards as well. Didn't really come back to bite him that particular game. He just didn't have, double white anyway. Yep. But that's something that, in the future games that we play here, that could come up.
Yep. And it looks like Kia has a Negate in his sideboard, which he'll probably bring in. Also has Wolfbear Avenger and Strangleroot Geist. As well as Garruk Relentless. It'd be interesting to see if he decides to go down that direction. Seems like it's a reasonable strategy. I'm not sure what he boards out. Fencing Ace doesn't seem too great in this matchup. I'm not sure I want to board out my Avacyn Pilgrim. Yeah, it's maybe Spectral Flight. Maybe Savagery. It seems like there's not that much that he can really give up without really diluting the deck. So it depends on how much he wants to transform his deck to just play around cards like Supreme Verdict and Terminus.
That's the tough thing with this deck, right? It's like a complete engine deck. It's basically a combo deck, if you want to think of it that way. You've got your creatures, you've got your ways to make your creatures better, and then a card like Abundant Growth is just like a card you have to play because the mana's so bad that you can't afford to board that one out. So maybe you can board out Curiosity. Fencing Ace, those 2-ofs are the ones that seem like they can go.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely the cards that are probably the first to go. Geist is so good in this matchup that you don't really need to pants it up most of the time.
Sure.
He has to worry about Snapcaster, obviously, but a card like Spectral Flight might not be necessary if he really wants to go down the Strangleroot Geist path. Not a huge fan of the Geist, but could see him going there, especially with Wolfbear Avenger. He can sort of just have a lot of cards that are reasonable against the Supreme Verdict. Not sure Garruk might be necessary, but definitely bring it into the game.
Taking a look over here at Andrew's sideboard to see he is going to be on the play this game. What we've seen over the course of today, a lot of people making some concessions to have a better matchup against this banned Hexproof deck, and Andrew is not one of those players. You're going to find 3 Rocks Faithmenders, which again are okay against this deck, but not great. 2 copies of Negate, 1 Oblivion Ring, 2 Cremates, 2 Duress, 2 Feeling of Dread, 3 Jace Memory deck. You're not going to find a card like Liliana the Veil here, which really is just a card that says, I'm trying to be hexproof. Yep. Now, there are 4 Supreme Verdicts, there are 3 Terminus. He does have good cards against this deck, but he doesn't have anything to really improve his matchup after sideboard, and I think that that's a little worrisome for him.
Yeah, I mean, Faithmender's a reasonable card to have. You can gain a lot of life to sort of, especially if you go, it makes your Swings of Revelation a little more reasonable in this matchup, but again, without Liliana or Tribute to Hungers, he doesn't really have a great answer to Geist, or an efficient answer to Geist. If I had to guess, I think Kia might be boarding out the Spectral Flight, the Fencing Ace Curiosities for the Avenger Geist package, as well as 1 Negate and maybe 1 Garruk Relentless.
Okay. Interested to see, I mean, that game, obviously a lopsided affair. And I don't really know what kind of hand Andrew's looking for besides, these hands with master rule effects. But again, Kea doesn't have to really put a lot of things on the table. He can pace the game in such a way that he can make those Supreme Verdicts really just overcosted spot removal spells.
Yeah, and that's really the problem with Control versus this type of aggressive deck, is that Hexproof can play a very good threat in either Geist or Invisible Stalker and play cards like Ethereal Armor and Rancor to make them efficient in their own. And same thing with Soulblade Paladin. Even though you need to Soul Bond it, it's hitting for a lot in 1 turn sometimes. So it doesn't have a lot of reach if Funkhouser can gain control, but this is a pretty good start. Probably takes the Curiosity here.
You think you like the Curiosity more than the Armor? I guess Curiosity is the card that lets him keep up.
Yeah, it depends on his board. I mean, Ethereal Armor can kill pretty quickly if he top decks a Rancor, but I think Andrew probably has a Wrath Effect, so he's not that afraid of it.
And the hand that you guys did see there was 2 4s, the Sun Petal Grove to go along with a Silverblade Paladin and Ethereal Armor and a Invisible Stalker. Draw step's going to net a Hollowed Fountain. And I think we're going to see that Invisible Stalker here.
So it looks like he kept in the Curiosities. Wondering if he didn't bother with the Wolfear Avengers with the Strangleroot dice. Maybe just brought in the Negate.
I mean, I'd be a little surprised if he didn't bring Strangleroot dice in. It seems like this is exactly where you want it. Because we are going to see a Lingering Souls here from Andrew.
Yeah, Geist isn't too good against Lingering Souls.
That card does a nice job again against Strangleroot. Geist also does a fantastic job against Geistocene Trap too.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
I think ideally Kia wants to draw an Abundant Growth and draw into an Ethereal Armor. Should be pretty solid turn of events.
Cavern of Souls is his draw step. You do see him play a Forest here. It looks like we're going to see Silverblade Paladin right now. Pair up and let him get in for 2. He's going to start the clock. It's not a very good one, but it's a start.
Abundant Growth into a second Ethereal Armor can make things very uncomfortable for Funkhouser.
Alright, so here come the Lingering Souls tokens. Gonna knock Kia down. I think we're gonna see. Yep, we're gonna see a Supreme Growth.
Has to kill it.
No reason to wait for the enchantments to get here.
And he knows what's in Kia's hand, so pretty good position here. Knows he doesn't have a Geist. Ends up drawing a second Ethereal Armor, so good thing he did. He would have taken a big hit.
Yeah. He does just pass the turn back and
really would like a Planeswalker here, I think.
5 of them in the deck. It's just going to be a pass back.
Try to just settle for a Drown Yard activation.
You see Cavern of Souls here. We'll see what it's going to name. It does have a lot of humans in his deck with, with Avacyn's Pilgrim, with Invisible Stalker, with Silverblade Paladin.
So he kept in the Fencing Ace.
You're going to see a Fencing Ace here. How much can he move in is the question. It's scary to try to do so.
The thing is Kia's deck is pretty much an all-in type of deck. Especially if you're going to keep in the Fencing Ace, you're gonna have to be aggressive. I could see not casting the Ethereal Armor right now, just because maybe Funkhouser will just use a Wrath again to get the Fencing Ace off the board. Maybe he has a Cameo. Yeah, there's just so many good cards against the Fencing Ace in Funkhouser's deck. I'm surprised that he would keep them in.
Yeah.
I mean, Flashback Lingering Souls is
it's gonna
buy you enough turns to, unless Kia draws a Rancor.
And we do see Funkhouser really thinking things through right now, because he does have 6 lands.
Well, it's funny, a top deck Rancor could actually just kill Funkhouser.
Yeah. It doesn't take much to set this baby off.
And he does keep in the Spectral Flex, so he's threatening to do a lot of damage. Basically, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 18. So I think he has to just go for it.
So
things aren't improving. Things aren't going to improve for you.
It's so tough to do when in the face of a Zorish Charm, in the face of
Zorish Charm, ultimate price. There's a number of cards, but if you kept in your Fencing Aces, this is why you kept them in. If you could try to slow roll it and play maybe just a Spectral Flight or just an Ethereal Armor and hope to top deck a Geist, I guess. But I don't love your chances here.
We'll see a Spectral Flight.
I mean, maybe Funkhouser just has a Forbidden Alchemy. You don't know. But why would you keep in your Fencing Aces if you're going to try to play passively?
And he is going to take the slow approach. And I mean, I overall I agree with you. If you're going to leave this card,
I don't get why you keep the card in if you're not going to go all in.
Yeah.
All right, that's even worse for you. It's like, what do you think there's a million cards he can have that are terrible for you. He can't have them all.
Sure.
So you got to pick your battles, man.
Furthermore,
you have 2 enchantments in your hand now. What are you expecting to draw?
Yeah. Furthermore, you can't play around them all.
Exactly.
Either.
And like he has Lingering Souls in his graveyard, so if you don't kill him this turn, he's just gonna flash it back this turn and buy himself more time. So I don't like that play. You got to go all in there. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, okay, if he didn't flashback Lingering Souls, he probably has an answer. But He could have Forbidden Alchemy. He could have a Sphinx's Revelation, you know?
And he does just pass back again. After relevating for 3, does play land, plays it, and just says go. We see Hollowed Fountain drawn, 2 Ethereal Armors, and he is just going to remove the attack step. He is just slow playing again now. Getting in there for 6, you are going to see an Azorius Charm.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why he didn't flash back the Lingering Souls there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the hesitation is on that. Lingering Souls is essentially 2 Time Walks right now, outside of a Rancor being drawn.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that you want to mill him, but I don't think this plan. I think this plan you can afford to skip 1 turn. I really would. I would like to buy 2 turns where I can, just block and just get free draw steps. And if he draws a Rancor, you still have access to Azorius Charm anyway. So
yeah. We are going to see Lingering Souls be cast with flashback right now. You did see the interaction there between Azorius Charm and Nefaya Drown Yard, putting the creature on top and then milling it away. So Kea is going to draw a mystery card instead of that Fencing Ace. Sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing.
Yeah, and again, Funkhouser had the Sphinx of Revelation, so he would have been able to gain 3 life and survive had Kea gone all in. But I think you still make that play because you don't really have many other outs here.
Yeah.
And Funkhouser is going to keep drawing better cards than you and putting this game further and further out of reach. So if you're going to keep in a card like Fencing Ace against a deck like this, you got to take your chances.
The thing is, the longer we go here, the more things obviously favor Andrew. Every draw step is just more and more back.
I don't even see Kea. I think the game's over. I don't think Kea can win from this point. I think it's just too good of a position for Andrew.
And you're going to see Drown Yard activations. He has 2 of them now.
I mean, Andrew's even playing around Wolfbear Avenger and Strangleroot Geist by keeping his tokens back. He's like, I'm just going to mill you. I know that there's not much you can do against me.
I have a handful of good cards. I'm making my land drops. I'm milling 6 cards from your deck, and you see Kea even counting his deck, and it makes you wonder at this point, how far along is he going to let this last? Because again, he is in a bad position. It's not getting any better as the turns go on. So do you want to show him more cards from your deck as you're getting milled? Give him more information.
I think he kind of wants to just see. I think he still might think Wolfbear Avenger end the turn, Rancor if he has him in his deck. I haven't seen any flip over yet, but I believe I saw Strangleroot Geist in there. So I mean, he's got outs.
We're going to see some mana get tapped here. We're going to see a Geist of Saint Traft. Kea sitting with 2 Ethereal Armors, a Hinterland Harbor, and a Negate in his hand right now. So he's got some real cards there, and he can, attack for a lot in 1 turn. Negate might be a little bit better than we think, as we do see Hinterland Harbor come into play here.
Yeah, I mean, if he's able to keep the Geist alive, he might be able to pull it. I mean, Andrew's hand is going to have to be pretty terrible for him not to be able to win this game. But
he turns over 2 cards that are very important there, and 2 Rancors go to the graveyard here. A card that he really does need to be able to win this game, I think, just to be able to plow through those Lingering Souls tokens.
Yeah, I think Andrew's basically just going to see if Kea resolves an Ethereal Armor onto his Geist, and then he probably just will block both of them. And he decides to cast some Verdict this turn. Doesn't want to mess around.
And I'm okay with this.
Yeah, it's fine. I think he had a turn to do that. I think he could have waited for Kea to put the Ethereal Armor on his creature, attack with both guys, and then just chump block both of them.
And then wrath
him away. But, it's fine. Oh, he ended up drawing a Rancor, so he would have taken a little extra damage. But he's still well out of he's still well out of the range of being dead, so still looking pretty solid for Funkhouser here.
We're going to see a Forbidden Alchemy on the end step here. So you're going to see Alchemy plus a Drown Yard activation here.
Let's see if he just gets Supreme Verdict. Yeah, I think he just took another Supreme Verdict and said, I'm not going to lose to any of your hexproof guys.
Stalker, and Fencing
3
Ace.
creatures. He
Right
has
in the
nothing
bin.
but creature enchantments in his hand.
He's got his silverware, he's got his vegetables, just no meat.
No meat. All the pants in the world and not a leg to put him on.
That's right. No, just gotta be tough.
Nothing but pants.
Yeah.
It's like he's at the Men's Warehouse.
I was just there this week, and I do like the way I look.
I guarantee it.
That's right. He drew a leg.
There you go.
He drew himself a leg.
One leg at a time. Well, we know Funkhouser has a Supreme Verdict. So, yeah.
There's your ranker. We're making a guy.
There we go. We're
Yep.
gonna just get him out there.
Yeah, you see him
now
shaking
I'm
his head.
Now I'm tired of waiting around.
Yeah.
I am definitely going for it. I do not have many cards left in my
2
library.
and 3. So a bunch of lands there. If it's a Terminus and not a Supreme Verdict.
I don't think he's gonna.
All right, that's 4
yeah.
man. That's a Supreme Verdict.
I'm pretty sure he got that off the forbidden alchemy.
So now his hand right now is Rancor plus Negate, and we're gonna see a
And there you
concession
go.
here. And he shows he still had this
still
Terminus
had all these.
and
Probably
a Supreme
didn't.
Verdict.
I don't. I wouldn't have showed the Terminus.
Yeah, I wouldn't have shown it
I don't
either.
know why people love showing these cards. Like,
Yeah.
you beat me.
Yeah.
Don't give him information.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, Kia probably assumes you have a Terminus, but why would you bother showing it?
I agree with that. You know, unless they're friends and they know each other, every piece of information is good information.
Yeah.
That's why if I was Kia there, I may have considered conceding because I don't want my opponent to know if he turns over a Wolfie Avenger off of those drown yards. I'm gonna be pretty mad that that happens because that's something that could take him by surprise in a big way for Game 3.
I wonder what he took out. It looks like maybe he just took out the Savageries. I don't think I saw Savagery flip over. Maybe he just boarded out the Savageries for like a negate. I saw String Geist.
Yeah, we saw String
that.
Geist in some number. I don't remember seeing Abundant Growth being turned over that game.
You think he boarded out the Abundant Growth?
I mean, my eyes may be deceiving me. Excuse me, but I don't think I saw any. I know I saw Avacyn's Pilgrim.
That's I mean, I don't know. With the mana of this deck, I'd be a little wary of boarding that card out, but, you know.
And how it interacts with Ether Armor. I think Ether Armor needs that critical mass of enchantments to be good. I think that Abundant Growth is part of that enchantment count for that to be a real card in this deck.
Well, I think, you know, Ethereal Armor Rancor, yeah, I'd be curious to see what he boarded out for that.
And we do see Kia is sideboarding a little bit differently here. Andrew's already just taking a shuffle here of his deck, so he's pretty happy with this configuration here. As we're going to be moving on to Game 3, Kia is going to be playing first this game.
Yeah, they got 28 minutes.
Yeah, the time is not going to be a factor here, which is good for these players, especially when they are playing for top 8. At least it looks like they're going to be playing for top 8.
Well, it could be for Funkhouser.
Yeah.
The good thing for Kia is he needs a draw, or at least he wouldn't mind the draw. I mean, there's a chance he could draw into 9th or 10th, but still, because the other players above him are playing, a draw still puts him in contention. So really, the pressure's on Funkhouser. Can Funkhouser win in time with his Esper control deck? Now, I think 28 minutes is probably enough time, but, you know, you never know.
We've seen stranger things happen.
Yeah, you know, they're taking their time sideboarding, and if he's planning on just winning with Drown Yard, it's possible. If they don't present by like 25 minutes, then I might be concerned if I was Funkhouser.
Sure. Big thing for Kia here, something that we talked about on the top after game 1, being on the play for Game 3.
Yeah.
Pretty big here.
Yeah. And again, the only reason there's this much time left is because Kia won so quickly. It's not that Funkhouser's deck can win quickly at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think Kia's pretty in good shape for Game 3. He's on the play, and, you know, there's also a chance that he could just end up drawing with Funkhouser, which is not the worst thing that could happen.
All right. Alrighty, gentlemen, we are ready for a show. If you'll put it on for us.
I wonder if he decided to take out the fencing aces after his experience with them in game 2.
It's too much to get that card.
I think it's just too. Yeah,
Azorius Charm. It's too much.
You're trying to get a little too lucky. And he had the situation where he could have dealt 18 damage to the fencing ace, and he chose not to.
Yeah.
Because he realized there's so many cards Funkhouser can have. So if you're not willing to do that, I don't think the card should be in the deck.
Yeah, I agree. It's far too much to take.
Yeah.
If you can't move in on that, and that's something he realized, he's like, oh, I have to spread out how I'm going to deal the damage with this card. Well, that's not very good.
And that's why I said, I'm like, pick what your strategy is going to be. If you decided to keep that card in and you have a chance to kill your opponent with it, do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Commit to a strategy.
Yep. 6 and 7. So both players laying out their opening 7 cards, looking to stay on 7. As we did see, Kia did mulligan game 1. And you see, looks like some lands and some
He's
spells.
got lands and spells.
Yeah, he's keeping.
Looks like a keep here. Funkhouser. And Funkhouser's mulligan.
Going out of 6. If you're Kia, you're doing a mental fist pump.
And it looks like a physical fist pump. But Andrew's deck can actually mulligan reasonably well.
Yeah.
Don't think he has Think Twice, which again, a little surprising that none of these. This is the second blue-based control deck we've seen that doesn't play Think Twice. And it's really greedy because Think Twice is one of those cards that really helps you smooth out your draws and helps you get to cards like Supreme Verdict, which you need.
Yeah.
So. Very greedy. We've seen it 2 rounds in a row, a blue-based deck being very greedy, not playing Think Twice, but it worked out for the first blue deck, so let's see if it works out for Andrew this time. We get a Shore from Andrew, and we're off.
So we see a Glacial Fortress, and we have a Hollow Fountain.
He's going to be kicking himself if he draws a dice.
There's our forest. Is it Viscer Stalker? It
Oh,
is.
he is a Stalker.
The king of interaction himself, Invisible Stalker.
And Ethereal Armor here. Let's see if he can how aggressive. Oh, he does have a Wolfare Avenger. I feel like we got a Ethereal Armor and Spectral Flight.
Pants.
It's gonna be a very quick game here.
Oh. Coming in for 5.
So next turn we're threatening 10 with a Silverblade Paladin. Even if you have a Supreme Verdict, we have a follow-up of a Wolfare Avenger.
Yep.
Although I actually don't think he plays the Silverblade Paladin here. He might just pass.
I think I'm very. Oh well, that changes things.
Yeah.
Because
okay.
I mean, there was maybe a fear of some sort of counterspell. Don't know what it would be.
No, but the thing is, he can't kill him now anyway, right? He can only drop him to 5.
Sure.
So now that you drew, and Kea actually just drew a Celestia Charm, so it could be reasonable to just attack for 5, drop Andrew to 10, and then if Funkhouser does have a Supreme Verdict, which he pretty much has to cast, he can go end the turn Wolfare Avenger and then play a Paladin, and if he has another land, he can Celestia Charm and just kill Funkhouser.
Sure. Instead of hoping that Funkhouser doesn't have a 4th.
Exactly. So if Funkhouser does have the Supreme Verdict, suddenly Kia's board state's not very good. I mean, he still has a Wolfare Avenger, but
there's a swamp.
It looks like he doesn't have. Yep. It looks like he might have to. This is a detention sphere for winning shit. No.
This is passing the turn back.
Passing. I guess he's just going to try to deal with the Silverblade Paladin, hoping that, maybe Kia attacks and he's able to Azorius Charm the Paladin. But I doubt Kia attacks here with the Silverblade Paladin.
She attacks.
Oh.
Well, I mean, even attacking with the Silverblade Paladin's not that big of a deal. You're going to see Forbidden Alchemy.
I don't think this doesn't draw him the card, right?
No.
Does he think he's going to draw a Terminus?
Yeah, that's not how it works.
That's not how it works. So he puts the Terminus into his hand.
Dress goes there. Yeah, that's it. There's nothing that can be done.
Game, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that draw. I don't think
Yeah,
the Forbidden
and
Alchemy.
Kay is explaining to him right now. So that's not how it works. You see,
Did he-
2 Supreme Verdicts. So that's it.
Did he? Could he not have cast it? He didn't have a blue mana. I
Yeah,
think.
he had black. He had black Hollow Fountain
Black
Plains
Hollow
and,
Fountain Plains.
and Nefaya Drown Yard. And again, you're playing a 3-color deck. Those colorless lands are not free.
Yep.
They're not free.
So his only out there was to draw a Terminus.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we see Kea with Bant Hexproof wins 2-1 over Andrew Funkhouser, and it looks like we're gonna have a Bant Hexproof deck in the top 8.
Yep.
So congratulations to Kea Saleh. He was in 9th place that round with 24 points. So that's gonna move him up to 27.
So yeah, with the top 2 tables drawing, he should be in the top 8.
Yeah. Big game there. Good matchup for him there in the last round too.
It's
I think
unfortunate
that's
for Andrew too, because it's his first loss of the day. I mean, he only drew, so.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the deck. It's like they're all in on casting Supreme Verdict, and your mana's not even good enough sometimes to be able to cast it.
Yeah.
So.
And that's actually what we saw game 1 and game 3.
Yeah.
Just having issues with the mana base, making sure he can hit his lands on time. And again, that's where it goes back to, considering think twice in your deck instead of maybe, that Rune Chanter spike, those 2 detention spheres, maybe 1 detention sphere, 7 Wrath effects, maybe you cut back 2 of those so you can fit in 4 think twice so you can smooth your draws.
Yeah, it's not playing Think Twice is very greedy. I mean, that could be the difference between, casting your Supreme Verdict or not. So I just think that you're being very greedy if you're not playing Think Twice in a blue-based control decks, especially like this, because even the Augur Bolus decks play at least 2 Think Twice or 1, So, although with Gate Crash and getting the new off-color lands, it's definitely going to help.
Sure. The mana base will be improved, but I think you're still going to see some of the same issue here, where you're still going to